Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Spice. Today we are at the next topic, that is the building an attack. We will see how an attack is built in this position. We are also trying to break down a complex position which we did in the previous lesson. So we have got a complicated case, of course. It's not an easy one. It's white to play. We can see that white has 2 pawns less, but his bishops are aiming towards the king. It looks like the attack is not ready yet, but if we count the pieces near the king or aiming at the king, we see that 2 bishops are aiming. Knight can jump to f5 and h5. Queen can join anywhere from g4, h5, d3 in future. So white is looking to get an attack here. The knight on b5, which looks bit oddly placed, is actually very nicely eyeing the d6 square, which will help to attack f7 in many cases. Black's problem is that in spite of being 2 pawns up, the pieces on the queen side, a8, rook and knight a6 are not participating. The e7 bishop is unable to defend very well on the king side. So all in all, white looks to conduct an attack here and he thinks of the move bishop h6. We have already discussed when a pawn moves in front of castled position, it weakens the square next to it, like h7 weakens g6 and sometimes the square h6 itself. White embarks on a sacrifice here. Bishop takes h6. Little difficult to understand what's going on. Let's calculate a bit. After gh he wants queen d2. Queen will jump to h6 and knight f5. Seemingly there are many defenses, but we will soon realize that nothing is that effective. First, let me show you the line. G takes h6, q d2. If kg7, then white wins very easily with nf5 check, kg8, queen h6. Black tries to defend with ne8, but it's of no use. Just knight e7, queen e7 and queen h7 mates. Other lines are far more complex though. Black has a try in the move knight c5, trying to bring a piece on e4. So white has to first stop that, because if he goes instant queen h6, there will be knight e4 or bishop e4. So rook e1, stopping ne4, and now black can try the move nd3. So bishop takes d3, c takes b3, and of course now he is not interested in d3, and now comes knight f5. Bishop e4, trying to eliminate f5, knight b d4, bringing one more control on f5, rook e8, trying to use after bh6 the move bishop f8. So white uses now knight h6 check, king h8 loses to nf7 check, queen is lost, king f8 forced, and now qg5. It's game over. The attack is brutal. There are numerous threats. One is rook e4, knight e4, qg8 mate, and also there is the idea of nf5. So bg6, bishop moves away. And now it's white to play and win. See combinations happening inside another combination. So rook takes e7. The final killer blow of the game. If rook takes e7, then queen f6 with threat of mate on h8. So qe7 forced, and now there will be the move knight hf5, attacking the queen and vacating the square h6. Means after bishop f5, knight f5, there are 3 threats: queen g7, queen h6 and knight e7. So white would have won this way in the line knight c5. Black puts up a very good defense and resistance, we must say, with the move knight h7. Point is that after queen h6, he wants to play the move f5. Bishop is heading to f6 in order to control the g7 square. Knight takes f5, rook takes f5, bishop takes f5 and knight f8. Black has returned some part of his material, and we can say he has averted himself from getting mated directly. But what has happened is a permanent damaged king side, and materially although black is not in such a big danger, but positionally we can say now white's rooks will transfer to the king side. Let's see how white won the game swiftly from here on. White goes rook d1. The rook lift is in the air, rook d4 followed by rook g4. Also there is a small threat of rook d7 followed by b6 checkmate. Bishop g5 attacking the queen, queen h5, queen f6. Knight d6 attacking the bishop and threatening ne4 or be4. Bishop c6, white goes qg4, threatening h4 and winning the pinned bishop. King h8, moving out of the pin, and now bishop e4. There is a simple idea now. Bishop c6 followed by ne4 and g5 would be lost. White is just toying with the position and soon he grabs lot of material. It must be noted that the untimely qg5, nf7, kg7, knight takes g5 would prolong the matters. It's not an easy win for white over there. So white rejects that idea. So the bishop moves away. So bishop takes c6, d takes c6, queen c4 attacking the knight and c6, knight c5, b4, knight c e6, queen c6, the rook lacks space, so rook b8, knight e4, qg6, rook d6. Materially, white has quite a lot, rook and 3 pawns against 2 pieces. So white is not trying to go into something unnatural out here. Bishop g7, now comes f4. Good move, the game is nearing an end now. qg4, h3, queen e2, so knight g3, queen e3 check, king h2, knight d4, q d5, rook c8, knight h5. Now knight g7 is a major threat, followed by q takes d4, knight e2, knight takes g7. It's almost game over. If king g7, then queen g5 check wins instantly. So q g3 check, king h1, knight takes f4, queen f3, queen into f3, rook f3, kg7, rook f4 is totally losing. So black goes knight e2 attacking the rook and the knight, but now white finishes the game with rook h6 check. Black resigns, kg8 gets mated with qf7 and king takes g7 allows mating to after qf6 check, kg8, qh8 or rh8 both. So we can say white's position turned out to be winning, but the play was by no means easy. If I would show you all the possible variations, then the video would have become really very long one. I hope you are finding these lessons useful and instructive. Do let me know in the comments below. Thanks for your time.